Hi, and welcome back to the I See Potential podcast with your host, Christine.
And Jake.
Long
Hey-o.
time no see. We actually have missed you guys.
We have. But to be fair, we've had a very good reason for why we were away.
Yeah, there's this kind of pandemic going on outside, and we've all been locked inside our houses for the past 3.5 months. So,
true.
couldn't really come together and record, and I didn't have a mic, so I'm sorry.
We did get Christine a new mic though. Well, she got herself a new mic, but we recommended it.
Yeah, so now we're back and we're ready to chat shit and just talk about the little things going on in life.
Yeah. But we're also joined here with today. I've asked one of my very good friends, Miss Lilster Watkins, to help us produce the podcast so we can have a bit more finesse.
Yeah.
She's also joined us here.
We're taking this in a whole new direction. We're trying to be a little bit better for you guys. Trying to make sure that we can only provide the best content. So, yeah, thank you, Lily, for helping us kind of get our shit together.
Yeah.
Woo.
You got anything to say before we start, Lily? A statement to the people of the world?
Prepare for greatness.
I like that.
Ooh.
She gets us.
That's like a thing.
I am greatness.
But yeah, Lily's our producer now. She's trying to drive it, so every week we don't talk about just random shit. I mean, random shit is really fun, I'm not going to lie, but structure is also very good.
Indeed. So, now that we are taking things in a new direction, we are going to start with just a few little things to, spice things up a little. Our little tasters.
Yeah, a little like, start a meal to the full meal.
Yeah. So the past 3 months.
It's not been 3 months, it's been like 5, hasn't it?
I don't think our calendars really work anymore. I think they're kind of void for this year. I know a lot has happened, and I'm just there taking each week as it comes. I'm not even sure what happened in March anymore.
We did go Dublin.
Yeah, we did that, but that was before everything shut down.
It's true. To be fair, when we was on that plane, there was a very nervous woman I was sitting next to that was just coughing throughout the entire flight. So that made me very nervous.
Oh. But no, what have you actually done during these past 3 months? Because I have been very productive. I think I've actually had some of the most productive months of my life, but also at the same time I've had that nagging feeling that I'm not doing anything.
I always have that nagging feeling that I'm not doing anything, but again, I don't think I've done much. But that has like kind of awakened a fire within me to make me do much. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Like, I think in the first few stages of lockdown when everything began, I was feeling a bit anxious, didn't really know what to do with myself, and I spent a few days just like in bed watching shows, and that was literally me for days on end. But then after a while of not doing anything, I decided, you know what, you need to like get a routine and you need to start writing again. I didn't force myself into it straight away because I was like, my creativity's been stifled by this situation. So I gave myself a little bit of leeway, a little bit of time, but eventually I got myself into a routine where I wake up every day around 7-8 o'clock, I exercise, I sit down, I start writing from like 10 till about 5 on some days, and I just kind of have been motivated to do more with my actual passions, because this is the only time I've actually had to really sit still.
Yeah.
So I think I have been grateful for the opportunity to slow down, take in things and kind of apply good habits into my life during this time. But there's also a lot of things I have missed and still do miss at the moment. So I don't love this lockdown, but I don't completely hate it either.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
like nothing's changed.
Still doing
And
the same?
Yeah, like I was still doing the same before lockdown than I am doing now. So I left my job in November, and then tried to get a few jobs, had a few interviews, but nothing happened. Then lockdown happened, and like nothing really has changed. But it like because nothing has changed, that's kind of like a sign to me, and it's kind of been like a reflection on myself, being like, okay, I'm so bloody bored of doing this. I need to change. So about a month ago, I decided to try and like, full on gun to try and be a bit better with myself and like in general. So I redid my CV, made a media CV. I've been applying for jobs in London, trying to sort that out. Nothing's come back to me yet, other than like about 20 different rejections, but that's normal. Yeah, it's kind of like just lit a fire under me, which I'm kind of like, I just really want to start something. It's weird that I really miss work. Like, it's not even that I miss money, I just miss it. Yeah.
Because when you're just sitting at home, not really doing as much as you would do by being out and about, then you just miss contributing to something, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think especially living in my house, like I feel like I deem my self-worth to be a lot lower than it was when I was working and in university at the moment. So I think I miss work giving me that kind of like, okay, you're all right, Jake. I think you're fine, because I am too hard on myself at the end of the day. But yeah, it is how you see it, and it is how you want to interpret it. And this whole lockdown has just given me a chance to try and see that.
Okay. So, since we're still talking about lockdown, what is your current favourite album right now? Like, what's getting you through some of these hard moments?
I don't do albums.
Oh, okay. So, what few songs then can you kind of give us to say, like, this keeps Jake going?
Well, my Spotify Premium ended 2 months ago, because I was all like, I'm not, £10 is a lot, let's be real. So I've been using my little iPod from a couple years back, and bloody hell, I don't even know. I like Peanut Butter and Jelly from Galantis. I think that's always a good feel-good song.
I don't think you can. No idea what that song is.
It's the one that's like, if we get done for copyright, it's the one that's like, oh jeez.
How does it go? Just sing it.
Do it like, it's a musical song. It's like a dance song. Peanut butter jelly. Do it like you give some money.
I think one. Maybe I've heard it on like a film or something like that. Maybe.
That used to be my driving around song. Well, basically this guy in university used to take me on a load of drives, and we used to have a driving around playlist, and that was one of the songs on it. So every time I listen to it, I just feel like good.
Energized. We love that. We do like that energy.
Christine, though, I know you've got albums, because like, bloody hell.
Well,
if music isn't like you, then I don't know what is.
Well, I listen to all my albums on like different rotations, so it depends what mood I'm in. So like, I think the last album I fully listened to was Division's September 5th album, just because I was like, let me get the vinyl out, let me stick on Division, let me get in my feels, and also like think about making a baby. Like, it's that type of music where it's like soulful R&B.
You better not be trying to think now to make a baby.
I'm not trying. Right, like, trust me, I'm the furthest thing from needing a child. Like, trust me. But in terms of like their music, it like really chills me out, vibes me out, gets me thinking, gets me feeling. But I kind of have been more on like different songs kind of giving me life. Like, one week I felt really ratchet, so I was like listening to my Meg Thee Stallions, my like Nicki Minaj's, my Cardi B's, my Mulattoes, my what's her name, Sweetie, all the ratchet girls just kind of like, I'm a real ass bitch from the south.
I just remembered one song that I did listen to that's kind of in my like Roman Holiday by Nicki.
like a dungeon dragon. I've started to feel like a
No,
dungeon
I don't
dragon.
think it's. Is it that?
Yeah, that's
It's
is that
the
Roman's
take your
Revenge?
medication, baby. Take your medication. She goes, and then she like raps really fast, like
okay.
Oh,
In my head, I was thinking Roman's Revenge. That's the one I like fucks with. Because like
Yeah.
with Nicki stuff, it's hit and miss for me. Some of it's like, oh yeah, that's sick. Some
Oh,
of
it's
like,
about 80% miss and like only one about hit. Let's be real.
if we're talking the pink print, that's like 60% miss, 40% hit. And
Yeah.
if the Barbs want to come for me, then they can. I'm ready to fight.
I mean, she's featured on literally everyone's album ever to live. She's
Yeah,
probably
but
got like a feature with Mozart.
she's doing way too many features with Takeshi's Snitch 9, and that's not cool. Not because he's a snitch, but because he's like a bit noncy.
What did he snitch about? I don't care,
He
but
snitched about
like
a lot of rap stuff, but I don't really care about like the gang stuff. For me, it's the fact that he's a nonce that I don't like.
oh, is he a full-on nonce?
Like, he was convicted of like doing stuff with, I think the girl was like between 13 to 15. So yeah, not a fan of that. And she's collaborated with him twice. Not
Ew.
once. So the first time everyone's like, sis, you know he's a bit of a nonce. And the second time she just did it and everyone's like, well, I'm not listening to this shit.
Also, I don't get this whole snitch thing. If someone's done something like super bad that's worthy of being like, if someone's killed someone and you want to snitch on them, it's just telling the police or someone in law, bitch, they killed someone.
Like, there's a difference between like just doing something for the right reason and snitching.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit different because you're kind of going out of your way to say things that aren't your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I get you with that. I think I don't know the context and what he was snitching about. I don't really care.
Like,
I don't want to
don't
know.
care about that in particular. It's just like snitching in general. It's like, just mind your own, innit? Like,
Yeah.
leave it.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole what is it, mumble rap? Is that the genre?
It's not even like a new genre. Like, mumble rap's been around since like the early 10s. But yeah, he does like mumble rap.
I
and it's not
can't
even
vibe
fun.
with it. I can't vibe with it.
Some people
Is that me
do
being
good
old?
mumble rap, some people don't. Like, there are some bangers out there.
The only mumble rap I've vibed with was someone named Gravy or something like that. And he did a mumble rap to bum 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 gravy bum 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 bum. And he did a cover of that, but I think I only liked that song because it was a cover and a mix between bum 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 bum. Oh, we lost Christine. Okay, she back, don't worry. It happens, lass.
Okay, we can continue.
But yeah, albums, I don't vibe with albums. I'm a song guy. I've got a song list of about 1,400 songs currently, and I just prepare shuffle and see what happens.
If I press shuffle on my phone, God knows how many songs I've got.
Yeah.
But sometimes it leads me to very weird places, and I'm like, huh?
It's just gonna happen. That's gonna happen. I think we need to move on though, because again, we need structure. And so we're talking about the beaches. Now, I'm a Falmouth boy. Well, I'm not a Falmouth boy. I'm an honorary Falmouth boy. I went to university in Falmouth for 3 years. I lived 5 minutes away from a beach, and I used to walk to the beach every day on my walks. Now, the thing that's happening at the moment
beach.
is there's a pandemic, and it's summer, and the beaches.
Is it summer though?
I mean, technically it is summer. It's not currently summer due to our weather. But yeah, what do you think about the beaches being crowded?
Well, I wouldn't mind people going to the beaches if they actually knew how to socially distance themselves, but all these people don't. they don't understand what it is to socially distance, and they just end up, I think
But
it's hard to explain.
have you seen the
In the
amount of
sense
people at these
of-
beaches? I think it would
Well,
actually be
obviously-
impossible to socially distance at one of them beaches. What they should have done is had someone at the gate and be like, "We've got too many people at this beach. You are not allowed on
There
this
should have been a
beach."
queue outside the beach, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But also, does the government really care? Does it really want to enforce any of its rules properly? Like, it can't even enforce it on its... The people who made the rules don't even follow them, so... This is where we're at.
I just think-
I can't deal with
I think
it.
it's because they have that power and they're like, well, the worst you can do is fire me, but then you've got no one to lead you, or... It's
We've got so many
Yeah.
other competent
well,
people.
they've
I'll lead.
I'll give it a go. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, once I start talking, these people are going to be scared.
Actually, no. Actually, I take it back. I don't think I can do it. I think being a politician has got so many... it's such a game that I just don't want to play. I just don't want to play
I
it.
love games.
I can't be dealing with it. It's too boring.
I think it'd just be way too annoying because, like, you're surrounded by idiots, like, everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, the beaches...
And it's not fun.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, the pubs opened up last week, and Soho in London, which is my favourite place in London, was shoulder to shoulder rammed, which is like I expected that, because if you hold in the British public from pubs for about 5 months and then say, well, it's a Saturday, you can go to the pubs again, I don't know what they were expecting. Like, what literally what were they expecting?
Drunk people can't socially distance, so I don't get the decision in the first place, but capitalism matters more than health.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, have you heard about the new stimulus package plan where they're like, yeah, you can get up to 50% off if you go out and eat, so you can help start saving these businesses.
which is ridiculous.
So they're like, yeah, go out.
Bloody hell.
So
They're literally telling people to go out and save the businesses.
So with this leadership going on that we've got right now, do you think the world's going to come to an end at some point?
No. Well, maybe.
It isn't, but, like, maybe it should.
Actually, okay, here's my tinfoil hat. I don't know a lot about politics, but I do know that Russia and China and other big powers are looking at us at this very moment like, bruh. They're like, tasty pickings. These people are messy.
Yeah, but I don't think China can talk.
I mean, oh no,
They
no,
cannot.
China can't
They're the
talk.
epitome of messy.
They're all messy, but like, we've got literally two memes as Prime Minister and President in the West. Actual
Yeah,
memeage.
but China have got, like, bubonic plague going on now. Like, they literally just don't stop for a second.
True. I think I'm just worried.
And for months they were just, like, denying that Rona was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, they were hiding it from the world for such a long time, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, China, I've got beef with them right now.
Oh, I think I always have beef with them. I think their whole, what is it? They're thing going on in Hong Kong at the moment. But I did hear that the UK has opened its borders to the Hong Kong people for what's it called? Immigration, right?
I think it's just air bridges, not like immigration. Like, they can now come live here because
What's an
China's
air
decided.
bridge? Sorry.
So, because travel was kind of limited and restricted,
Yeah.
now countries are building back air bridges to say, like, oh, you can travel to this country again for non-essential travel.
Yeah.
So, for example, you can now go on a holiday to Spain, but some places are still, hey, don't diss my
No,
lands. Fucking love them.
I'm there in at going on a holiday to Spain at this moment in time.
Well, they've got their kind of thing under control now, so they want to build up their tourism again. But the only
I
issue
very
is
much, I
if you
very
open...
much think that they've got their stuff under control. I think I don't trust our public knowing if we've got ourselves
it's
under
a matter
control.
of if you open the air bridges to and allow us to now come in, but you don't force us to quarantine, then whatever happens in your country, you kind of deserve. Because if I was anywhere, I'd literally say, if you're coming in from the UK, you are quarantining. If you're even thinking about coming in from the US, think again. No. Like, if you're coming in from, like, Brazil, Mexico, the USA, you're not coming in at all. Period. Because they've, like, mishandled it. We've mishandled it, but, like, at least our numbers have, they've gone down.
Yeah.
Whereas America, they literally, like, they started slightly going down, and then they started shooting back up again. And if you see the chart, it's hilarious, because it's like, you see the countries rising, and then some start to fall, some are still rising, and then some are starting to fall. And then all of a sudden with America, it just goes way back up. And you're like, this is what happens when you have a Dorito in charge.
So, like...
Doritos are meant to be eaten, not
So with
bleeding.
everything going on, yes, it may not happen today, it might not happen this year, it might not happen in this decade, but in the near future, it's bound to happen. What do you think would be the end of the human race on this planet? Or to near extinction, do you reckon? Will it be a nuclear war? Will it be zombies with coronavirus? Or will it be something silly like, I don't know, everyone left to go live on Mars? Like, what do you think the possibilities of that actually happening would be?
I think it's going to be more like climate change that kind of fucks us over more than anything.
About climate change.
I think how resilient the human race is. And I think to myself, if nukes don't kill us, and if climate change, if we can't figure out a way to help with climate change, or like at least survive the effects of climate change, I genuinely think the human race will survive until that sun blows up.
I
genuinely do. I have a lot of faith.
I don't think the Earth has enough resources, just like naturally, anyway.
I think
because of
I think they'll find a way. I genuinely think we'll find a way.
I think we should come to an end, because the bullshit is too real. But in terms of like the actual Earth not being able to sustain humans anymore, I give it like under 100 years. I don't think it can actually survive like the systems we have in place, and unless we decide to actually change the system.
They have.
I genuinely think. But they're not really.
UK is currently saying, like, now 80% renewable. Germany's went 100% renewable.
No, there's no such thing. Doesn't exist.
But, what do you mean?
It doesn't exist.
You sounded like some white lady from Texas right now, Christine.
No, because it's a matter of like the consequences of capitalism. They're not just gonna go away in a day or two. There's already things that are being affected by it, like environmentally, and they say like 50 years until it's irreversible. So yeah, we can start reducing things, but because of things like supply and demand, consumption, and people not changing their personal habits, and then corporation not changing their like practice habits, I don't think it's going to get better.
I think it will.
Like, people changing,
I generally think it
can only help so much. It's actually the bigger corporations that make money off these things.
Genuinely.
They're the ones that aren't going to just stop because it makes them more money.
I legit have so much faith in today's children and the upcoming children. Because, like, although people hate PC culture and all that lot, I think our current, like take 50 years ago, we still have everyone was still racist, homophobic, blah blah blah. See how much social change has happened within 50 years. Imagine how much social change and like normal change would happen in the next 100 years. I generally think the children will pick up the shit that
I don't.
genuinely think
They're
they
smarter,
do.
but they're
I
dumber at the
genuinely
same
think they
time.
will.
Do you know how many kids that are like 15 that I know that are so tech illiterate that they don't know how to function things like Word and Excel, just like the basic things, and we're expecting these lot to solve global warming. They can barely like solve their PowerPoint for just the most basic of things. Like, I think they're smarter in terms of they do know more, they have access to more information, but it doesn't mean that they use it wisely. Like, obviously they get involved with movements, but then they start making memes of like the deaths of people, which is just not a normal human response. So they have a long way to go before they become like the saviors
I
for
think they
the
are going to
human
be
race.
the saviors. I think actually not the saviors. It's just going to be the next in a long line of saviors.
Well, it depends on the education system. I always think like education is what is actually going to be the most pivotal part of
It's
changing
true.
the trajectory that
True.
we're going in. But if the people in charge now can't be fucked to change, the education system and make it so that, we are raising, future generations that are more capable and more competent and just like more empathetic, then we're gonna struggle.
So do you?
Well,
Sorry. Do you think that there needs to be like a group of people in the generation above us that need to implement some changes into law, into education, into...
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The stain
But they're the
of
ones
the
that
older
need to
generation. Yeah, exactly. I said it's not going to happen in our time. But when our generation becomes to their age, I think we will have such a different take on the world.
See, you say that, but it's the children of the people in charge that are the ones that are most likely going to be the next leaders, because power is passed down through elitism, unfortunately.
It's true.
So
But
some of their kids are learning, but not all of their kids. So they're not going to give the opportunities to their kids that have learned and become better people. They're just going to give the opportunities to their kids.
take the
that
English election, for example. Like,
don't.
80% of the young voters were all Labour. Like,
Yeah,
when the older generation dies off, the Labour generation, which is our generation, will move in.
I don't necessarily think that's the course it's going
I
to take,
genuinely
because
think it will.
obviously since that election things have changed. Like, the person which we voted for is no longer the person that's leading that party. That party is now facing a whole restructuring where the new guy in charge, he doesn't really seem to serve like, the people that good old Jezza was looking out for, in the sense of like, he was just there like, oh, Black Lives Matter, like, I don't support them. And it's like, okay, so you're basically telling all your black people to fuck off now. So like,
are using Labour as an
people-
example, as in such a social change can happen.
Social change can happen,
Drastic
but also
social
like
change.
there's so many like other factors that play into it. So for example, if one beacon that kind of radicalizes people disappears and then they're replaced with someone that basically goes with the norm of before, then that radicalization is going to die down, because you'll have like people now thinking like, oh, where do I actually belong in this conversation, or like, what can I do, because I'm looking at these parties that don't serve me or any of my interests, so I'm going to disengage again. And I think that's what is happening, and that's what I'm not confident that the next generation, as per se, like our people that are like just slightly older than us, are going to be able to do enough to make enough change.
Yeah. But they will...
Like, I know I sound like so pessimistic, but I think after observing everything for, however long I've been here and however long I've like engaged, I always just think like, well, anytime I think something good's gonna happen, it doesn't. And it's that same repetitive like failure of things where it just gets you tired and you become over it.
I know what you
So-
mean. I'm not like we are all tainted by the past decisions of our people. But I think with every iteration of, like, groups of people that come through this world, that taint gets a little bit less, and it will eventually come to the point where we won't even realize it. And the love that we spread from iterations to now will be so brilliant. Like, I genuinely have so much hope for tomorrow's people, and I'm sad. I am so sad that I will die not to see what we as people can become. I'm so sad I won't be able to see it.
We might become robots.
Oh, honey, if I'm 80 and if they can put my brain in a robot, boom, I'm putting my brain in a bloody robot.
I wouldn't put it in a robot. Like, I think I'm just content with the idea of, like, yeah, I'm knocked off, let's go. I'm over it. I'm done.
Like in Futurama had this thing where the internet is like a big game and you upload your mind into it. I'd do that. I'd do that.
To be fair, there was a show last year called Years and Years. It was on BBC. It was so sick. And it was basically telling the story of this one family through, like, pretty much the end of the world. Like, the first thing that happens is, like, all the banks crash. And then there's, like, a refugee crisis. So it's actually things that have happened, but the most extreme version of it all. So, you know, you start getting people being put into camps and stuff like that. So it kind of shows how history repeats itself, but it causes something a bit more, but it's very technology infused. So the girl wanted to be, so she came out as trans, and obviously they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, you don't want to be a girl. That's cool. And then she's like, no, I don't want to be a boy either. I'm a robot.
Yeah.
And they were like, what?
I genuinely think that's going to be a thing.
Like,
I genuinely
machinery put inside her.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
And eventually, at the end, I can't remember if it's her character or someone else in her family, but, like, they get their entire self I think it's her. She gets her entire self uploaded into an AI.
That would sound fun.
And that's basically, like, how she's telling the story of her family. Yeah. She's doing it as an AI. And it's like, whoa, this is so, like, trippy. I don't know, like, how we're going to get to that stage, because we're struggling with, like, finding phones that don't explode.
Yeah.
Like, Samsung, I'm atting you. Although I don't use Samsung.
I use Samsung, my baby.
Just say, like, if you have the 10, they used to explode before you got them.
Oh, I've got the 10. But my one's fine.
Don't worry. I don't think you... Actually, no, the 10 was the one that bent. The 8 or the 9 was the one that exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I generally think the robot thing is going to be a thing. Like, in the next 150 years, I think, like, people having sex with robots will become so normalized, and the AI of a robot will be so smart that we won't be able to tell the difference between a human and someone who is a robot.
I think that's weird, though, like, because sometimes when I think about sex, I'm like, oh, I really like sex with men, and maybe that's the reason why I couldn't be a lesbian, because I wouldn't be able to have, like, the real penis, like, because it feels unique, you know, having, like, the blood running through it makes it, like, what it is.
But what happens if someone has figured out a way to perfectly replicate that as a robot, and you can't even tell the difference? You meet a random guy at a bar.
Sleep with Mandem.
You're at a bar, Christine. You're at Uproar.
I'm not at Uproar. I'm never going back to Uproar.
In the future.
We're not doing that. I'm not waking up in Lichfield ever again.
So
yeah. You're at Uproar. Oh, carry on, laugh.
So this is Uproar in the future.
Yeah, this is Uproar in the future. You're like, it's swinging 60s night, and you're there, and you're like 65. And this guy comes up to you, and you think he's a normal guy. And he's like charming you out. You know, he passes your questionnaire. You still got it at that time.
If I still have the questionnaire and that long, then I would have topped myself by then.
And then you go back to his, and he seems totally fine, like warm and everything. And then you have sex, and it's like every normal guy. But then you find out he's a fucking android robot.
No.
You won't know the
like,
difference.
nah.
You won't know the difference.
I will know. Why would we be making... I feel like... No, you can't do that. Like, you can't be in a young body if you're an old AI. Like, your AI has to match how old you are. Like, it has to... No, I feel like that's weird. I don't like the idea of humans being able to live forever.
Yeah.
Like,
It's gonna
you're telling me
happen.
I might be shagging, like, some 100-year-old man. I'll be like, no, that's gross, man.
No, it might not be another human in an AI body, but it might just be an AI.
But why would we have AIs in bodies just like living amongst us? Let's just like not have
Because
them.
what happens-
I don't like
what happens
the
if-
idea of AI.
Okay, you're all for like human rights and everything, right, Christine? Like you're all for everyone
Yeah,
for
they're not
everything. That's the thing, though.
humans.
When it comes to the point where artificial intelligence becomes so smart, it's identical to humans. How do we?
But it's not a human.
No, but like, how do we figure it out? Where like, say if I was a robot right now having this conversation with you, and I'm all like, Christine, everyone's treating me like shit. I really want rights as this robot. I am a robot. I have feelings and thoughts. How would you go around that?
We shouldn't be creating things that aren't human to have human feelings and thoughts.
It's already a thing, though.
Well, they're not allowed bodies.
That's
I don't
already a
care.
thing as well.
They're not allowed. Kill them all.
Oh my god, Christine!
They're not humans, so I don't care. They're not made from flesh and blood, so I don't give a shit.
They're kind of made from flesh and blood.
Artificial.
Yeah.
So it's not real flesh and blood.
I'm all for robot rights.
No, fuck 'em. I'm black. I barely have rights, so fuck a robot.
I'm all for robot. What about a black robot right?
No, I'm having my rights before a fucking black robot. No.
That could be your title of your new book, Christine. Black robot gone stole my rights.
Okay, well, I don't. This is kind
I'm
of
a bit pissed off
too-
if a black robot got a job that I wanted. Me, a real
don't-
person, but the robot gets
I
a
don't think
fucking
this is going to
job.
happen in any time soon.
No, exactly.
this-
It's going to happen in about 150 to 200
It's-
years.
Yeah, goddamn robot stealing my job. What are you pissed off about today? These bloody robots. They need to go back where they came
But
from.
it could also turn to the point where AI gets so smart they no longer need humans, and then they try and kill us all.
Can they not just go to a different planet? Like,
Christine.
we found this one first.
But who's going to help us out in the future? Robots are fun. Robots are my bestie.
Nah, I think I have like my limits when it comes to technology because I genuinely feel like it has been one of the greatest and worst things to happen to humans.
Yeah.
Like, it's made us more incompetent and complacent, but also it's allowed us to become more creative and, like, you know, genius at the same time. I think I just hate stupid people, and stupid people tend to use a lot of these things, so they, like, spread their stupidity.
So-
Yeah.
You'd
Over
only be
time.
angry because you could see stupid people, but you only see them because of social media. So, who is it the fault of the stupid people or the social media that you can witness these stupid people on? It's
Is the social
Nah,
media
I see
run by a
stupid
robot?
people everywhere. Like, I probably see less stupid people on social media than I do when I look out in the streets, because I live in an area where there's bare stupid people. I can't escape them. They're everywhere.
It's undeniable.
Yeah.
I think
social media does play a part in, like, promoting stupidity, because obviously most things that go viral are stupid.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, not most things. Well, not all of
Yeah.
them, but like a lot of things that do go viral are just stupid, and you're like,
I
what?
commend it in the sense that it has been. I think due to social media, I think the rights and like the way we interact with each other as people has gone tremendously up. Like, it's still not perfect, don't get me wrong. I know we've got bloody problems, Christine, because I know what you was going to say. But
I wasn't going to say anything.
I know it has helped us out a lot with interacting with each other as humans and not trying to see each other as, differences.
But don't you sometimes feel like it's a very lonely platform?
It is, if you don't utilize it. Like, I interact with my friends on Discord, which could be classed as a social media kind of deal. That's how I interact with my friends, and I take advantage of that. I could just click on a button and talk to my friends whenever I want to.
Yeah.
I can see how it is lonely, but there is, like, if you could log in on Twitter and just at someone and be like, oh, hey, I like your drawings. Do you want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever? Or Black Robots? And, like, there are so many people that are just willing to talk. Obviously, there's so many people that are willing to talk that should not talk in the first place. Like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I commend it in the sense that I think it's brought us together, but I also see where you're coming from. There are still a lot of problems. And again, I have a lot of hope for the future generations, and it will all come out soon. Don't worry.
The TikTok generation.
Oh.
Don't even get me started on TikTok.
But we had Vine, so it's kind of the same thing.
Nah, TikTok is worse. Vine was funny. TikTok is just...
Well, are you just saying that because we're, like, old?
No, not even. Like, there's so many problematic things about TikTok.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not even just because we're older.
Yeah.
There's certain aspects of it I see, I'm like, oh, that's good, that's funny, that's fun. We like that. But then the problematic things about it do just kind of come out to the forefront for me, which makes me think, like, that is not an environment I think is helpful.
Can we sidetrack? I want to talk about everyone getting cancelled at the moment.
Just like, I think cancelling doesn't actually exist. Like, I was even listening to The Read earlier, and Kid Fury made a really good point to talk about how, like, the term kind of came out in order to help kind of people cope with something. It's not like a real thing.
Yeah.
And when people talk about cancel culture, it's a matter of people just calling people out on their bullshit, and then people make personal decisions to either unsubscribe from something if they were following it, or not subscribe to it at all if they weren't following it.
Which is the cancel.
But which is... It's not really cancel.
It's like...
It's just a matter of, like, these are the consequences for your, like,
yeah, so you cancel
actions. It's not exactly being cancelled.
Christine, if you came out with your Twitter and went load of homophobic stuff, and I'll be like, I'm unfollowing this, I'm cancelling this from my life, I don't want to subscribe to this, I'm cancelling that subscription.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with just doing that, because you are blocking access. Like, you're not letting certain things take your energy.
Yeah.
It's not exactly cancel culture or being cancelled per se in a broader sense.
I think I'm using
some
cancel.
very problematic people.
I think what I'm getting confused
still have jobs.
Is I think I'm confusing. Like, I think I use when I think cancel, when someone's cancelled, I think of it in a literal sense, in more of it instead of a figurative sense, right? Like them actually getting, like, YouTube, I'm cancelling my subscription. Yeah. I think that's where my confusion's coming along. Sorry, you carry on, Christine.
See, it's just like a personal thing. Like, cancel culture as a whole doesn't really exist. It's just a matter of people say, this person did this fucked up thing, and then everyone's like, oh shit, they did, and then everyone makes up their own mind.
Yeah.
Like, okay, nah, I'm not on board with that, or I am on board with that.
Do you agree with, do we judge them for their past actions, or do we judge them from what they've done since then?
It is a bit of both.
I suppose it...
Because you have to show the actual growth and, like, the assessment of, okay, what I did then was fucked up, and ever since then I've learnt this and that, and I am sorry, and I've made sure that my actions since then have reflected in the new type of person that I am. Whereas a lot of people, they get caught, they release like that iOS press release, just like, 2 pages of notes like, I was young, I was dumb, like, I'm sorry. And it's like, well, you're only apologizing now because people found out about it. You didn't look back yourself and think, oh shit, that was fucked up. Like, let me hop on and let people know I'm sorry for these things that I used to do and say. That's the reason why people get dragged the way that they do, because no one's ever gone out of their own way to be there like, shit, do you know what I did in the past was fucked up, let me just hop on real quick to let people know I've changed. No one does that. It's a matter of other people have to discover it, and then all of a sudden you're apologetic, you've decided you're a better person. But if you've never reflected on it in the first place, how can anyone know you're really a better person?
I also think,
how do you even know?
I also think a lot of people, they don't know these people. Obviously, if you come out and say something really bad on an online video and apologize, like, you can try and reflect on that and say, okay, I don't believe his apologize is real. I don't think their apology is real. I don't think I'm going to take it. Or you can say, oh, I believe it. Like, do you know what? I'm moving on from this. But a lot of these people I see, they take it like, and they speak about their experience with the person like they know them in real life. Like, if someone came out and had a statement about me and were trying to say, do you know what, Jake said all these things, blah, 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 then that's someone else reflecting on me. But when someone does it for themselves, I'm kind of like, everyone doesn't know you. Like, I think everyone's got their own online persona that people don't know what they're like in real life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to distinguish, like, when they do say these apologies, are they being genuine, or is this just their online persona trying to say sorry and make amends? Yeah. And the people in the comments need to chill, because, like, they don't know them either in real life. So, like, when it comes to the point, like, where they're trying to shout them out and trying to say things, I don't know, I think I'm stumbling in my words at this point, lass.
I think it is just, like, I get what you mean.
Get what I mean.
It's a matter of you don't actually know who they are.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes your words can be a bit harsh. But similarly, at the same time, like, the way in which you set up your platform for some of these people, they've invited people in to basically say whatever. Yeah. I'm not saying it's right, but it's happened. Kind of like, these are the consequences of how you make your money. So you kind of just do have to deal with it. Obviously, people should respect boundaries and know what to say and when to say it and how to say it. But if you invite 1 million people into your life and your home and you make money off making them think that, they know you and that
it's kind of like,
you're all one big family, then obviously they're not going to really have the right level of boundaries, and they're just going to do some fuck shit that you're not with.
Yeah.
Because they feel entitled to you. That's the problem with that entire type of industry. Once you kind of have celebrity, people feel entitled to you.
Yeah.
Which isn't great, but also at the same time, it is a consequence of what you do. Yeah, it's like, if you're a lawyer, you work like 100 hours a week, right? You might hate it, but also it's the profession you chose. You knew going into that you're going to have like some sleepless nights, and you just have to, sometimes you just have to firm your decisions. And it's like, if being cancelled is part of like the type of industry you're in, sometimes you're just going to have to firm that.
Yeah, you have to take on the chin.
And generate your own boundaries. Like, obviously, if you make a living off social media, but social media isn't serving you, you're allowed to deactivate your account for a bit. You're allowed to go take time, like, look after yourself and your mental health.
I've done that at the moment.
But I think a lot of people feel the need to just always be tuned in.
Yeah.
Because if they're not tuned in, they're not making money. And it's like, yeah, but like, how are you going to spend your money when you're dead because you couldn't look after yourself?
Yeah. But
it's about just like,
I'm doing that at the moment.
Being smarter.
I'm like, I've stopped streaming because I'm like, okay, Jake, like, although streaming's fun and it is really one of your favourite hobbies, you can't do it unless you get a job. Because
Yeah.
Like, I think in the back of my head, I'm kind of like, you can't enjoy this to the full extent if you've still got this thing where you're looming over you and you're like, you need to get a job, you're unemployed. Like, if that's at the back of my head, I ain't dealing with it. So currently, at the moment, I'm on a hiatus, and I've stopped. And to be honest, it's made me feel really good being on this
Okay.
hiatus, because it's given me time to realize and reflect. Like, do you know what, Jake? Like, you love streaming, but you have to give it up to get this job. You just need to. Too many things going on at once.
No, that's fair enough. I think sometimes we like to juggle everything, but it ends up not serving us in the
Yeah.
best way. So it's always good to just take a break, pause, reflect.
Legit.
Like, I've not spent as much time on social media this past week, and I felt great for it. Like, you know, I've barely been on Insta, and it actually like dawned on me early. I was like, shit, what do I even do when I'm
Scroll.
on there?
It's just a scroll.
Yeah, the only thing I need to kind of like learn to curb is Twitter, because it is the land of toxicity.
Oh, I've recently got back into Twitter, and I just realised, I was like, I feel like Twitter is our generation's platform.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I just realised, like, there's just so much negativity. Like, a lot of people are trying to push for a positive change, but there's just so much, like, constant negativity. And I'm like, I see very little positivity. Like, do you know what I mean?
There's always a clap back on Twitter.
Yeah, like, there's never just someone, like, tweeting, oh, I had a pizza today, well done. There's going to be someone in the comments like, you fat fuck, what are you eating a pizza for? Go work out. Like,
Yeah.
it's just always going to happen. I don't like it.
And at the moment, I think the person that's like making me dislike Twitter the most is JK trolling.
Oh, I'm trying to figure her out. I need to do more research into it before I talk about it, because I haven't looked into the situation.
Oh, trust me, she is the most exhausting woman on Twitter at the moment for me.
Yeah.
But we'll save that one for another day. We'll talk about Miss Turf.
Yeah.
And her just overall madness, really. Yeah.
Oh,
But
Lily's Wi-Fi's
shall we
gone
move
down,
on to...
So
Yeah, I know.
that's fine.
Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
Shall we talk about sex?
We haven't talked about sex in a while. That's weird for us, because this podcast has been going on for 50 minutes. We haven't mentioned sex once.
Well, how about we end it on a very saucy note then? Let's talk about what's been going on these past few months in terms of like our sex lives, if they're even a thing.
If they are a thing.
Is sex even a thing in
sex
lockdown?
real? It seems so.
Is
It's
it?
been so long. It seems like a mythical creature. One to
Yeah,
not
it's
been
been
seen.
so long for
Yeah,
me. 5
Christine.
days.
Okay, we've got a little segment here called Who's Pissing Christine Off at the Moment? Which man is fucking with Christine's life? Christine, who's fucking with your life at the moment?
To be fair, I don't think there's anyone properly fucking with my life.
Yeah.
I just do have a few thirsty boys that are like constantly in my DMs and whatnot. There's one guy, he literally sent me a picture of, I think it was like maybe part of his scrotum and like just that general area, and I'm like, that's not cute. Like,
Yeah, sorry,
I'm not really
honey.
feeling
Yeah.
that. He's gonna be blocked soon, because it's like, with him, I just decided he doesn't serve me
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form. Like, mate, you can't even like come down to shag me. You only want to talk when you're horny, and you got a dead personality, basically.
Yeah.
He doesn't really provide anything that's decent for me, so I just kind of let it be. And then, so that's the reason why I kind of created my questionnaire.
Yeah.
Are we?
I don't know. Carry on.
And so at the moment, I'm kind of talking to a few different
we'll just carry
people who are quite interesting. Purely because the last person that actually pissed me off
Yeah.
was the guy I was talking to pretty much from the start of lockdown. And, you know, we had a pretty decent connection. It was fine. It was very calm, very chill. Neither of us looking for a relationship. We were on the same page. And it took about 2 months. We might have done a cheeky little thing or two during the more restricted period of time. So we waited 2 months.
Yeah.
Then we shagged. And then after that, he started being a bit weird. And then he basically kind of gave me this whole spiel about like, oh, you know, I might not respond as often because I'm just like very busy. And I was like, that's cool. Hit me up whenever.
The thing
and then
is,
I literally just didn't hear from him for ages. And then the next time I heard from him was after like, you know, the whole George Floyd thing happened and, you know, racism was being brought on the forefront and it was everywhere in social media. That's when he messages me going like, oh, I just wanted to check in on you. So like he literally only checked in on me because racism was like rampant. Like that's the only reason.
No.
And so after a couple of weeks, I just decided, you know what, like this person doesn't really serve me anymore. Like we had a good thing going and he kind of decided like he wasn't into it, but he didn't inform me or anything.
Yeah.
So I decided like, okay, let me just like get rid of the number, get rid of like all the messages so I don't have to ever think about him again. But before like I fully deleted him, I was like, oh, I'll just check out his Insta because he talked about it, but I'd never actually looked at it.
Yeah.
So I decided like, oh, let me just have one last cheeky look, like let me have a cheeky little look to maybe see what he's actually up to since he won't talk to me anymore. And his girlfriend was all over his Instagram. Yeah, and that was a bit of a thing. Like, he'd always spoken about her by saying, like, my ex. But when my friend did extra research by, like, looking on the girls' like, Instagram and going down on the pictures on his, the dates didn't match up.
Nancy Drew of the century.
So, like, for when she was meant to be the ex, she was very much on the forefront, like the girlfriend. And, yeah, at that moment, I discovered I was someone's side piece all during lockdown. And
I think
yeah,
you can
that
comment
was
on this a bit
fun.
more. Like, in the gay world, like, if we want to have sex with someone, we're like, okay, we go NSA, which is no strings attached, and we just want to have sex, and that's it. And then we have sex and we leave it at that. And we literally, I don't think I speak to anyone I've ever done sexual things with before. I think I literally will only speak to them saying, I need to do something sexual. Do you want to do something sexual? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me do something sexual. Do you think straight men, like, pussyfoot around and, like, do you think it would be...
Some do and some don't.
Do you think it'd be a lot
so
easier?
Some are very straightforward. In terms of like, they're like, yep, this is what I want. Are you down for it? Yes or no? But then some don't, and they enter kind of like the deceit and lies in order to just get you in bed when they have no intentions of anything else. But the thing about it is a little bit different, I reckon, because that's men dealing with men, if you get what I mean. So the way in which men are wired, even if they're, you know, heterosexual, homosexual, or queer, or
the whole spectrum,
whatever label, whatever they identify as, they've still been raised in a society in a man kind of state. Whereas women are different. So obviously we've kind of been raised to be in touch with our emotions and kind of think about ourselves as whole human beings. I'm not saying men aren't whole human beings, but during like puberty you have so much stripped from you that doesn't allow you to function like the whole human being you actually are, because you're kind of taught to like repress emotions and not talk about how you actually feel. And so those are things that we as girls tend to value. So if we're gonna have a sexual connection with you, sometimes we do just want to talk to you. We do want to know who you are, because we've kind of been told that like it's good to know people. Whereas guys haven't been told that. So obviously it's harder for straight men in the sense of being as upfront with girls, because most girls won't be interested in that.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because we believe there's a value in knowing your own psyche and knowing the psyche of the person that you're going to sleep with. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just do want to shag and move on. But sometimes it's like, well, I want to know you at least, because like it's nice to do those things. And it's just about having like human connection. And I think women seek human connection a lot more than men do.
Yeah.
So it's easier for like maybe, you know, gay men to be able to just go do the non-strings attached kind of ordeal more often.
That's also a product of our culture. Like,
Yeah.
like I get what you mean, but the whole non-strings attached is such like based in gay culture that it's like back in the 60s we had to fucking go to random park toilets and have sex with random guys because that was the only way people could have them connections with someone. So I think...
So do you think relationships have kind of taken a back burner within the gay community?
I think they have
because
to.
of not being able
I think they
to
have
love
to.
openly.
Yeah, I think they have to. I think we're still in a heteronormative world, obviously. It's getting a lot better.
Indeed.
But, like, for example, I always use the analogy is, like, everyone else is working with... When everyone says there's plenty of fish in the sea, there is plenty of fish in the sea. But for me, there's plenty of fish in the fishbowl, but there's only one.
Yeah.
There's only like 5 fish in my fishbowl, and there's like 20 in another fishbowl, and it's hard for me to go to a different fishbowl. Like I can count like 4 people that I know who I'm like kind of good friends with in real life that are gay, and it's difficult. So
Yeah.
when it comes to trying to find them a sexual connection with someone, it's kind of like, do you try and learn about 5 people that you can that are the options compared to, like, for example, a straight person's cajillion? Do you try and learn these 5 options, or do you just want to have sex, take out the emotion, and wait until you are in a bigger fishbowl where you can try and find someone? Like,
Do you think a lot of people kind of have the same experience in terms of, do I risk getting to know someone and then it might not work out, or do I just like do the sex and then think about the emotions later?
I think so. I think that's that, or it's a me thing. It's just that,
Yeah.
like, in secondary school, I was fortunate to have a 1-month relationship with someone, and it was a very nice relationship. But if I didn't have that, like, experience in liking someone and having that experience as a teenager to, like, you know, kind of like someone like I actually liked, and it was more of a we were friends and then we moved on from friends and we got better for friends. Like, I'm fortunate since I have that, because not a lot of LGBT youth get that. Like, not a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the disconnection from relationships and sex comes from, because they don't get that connection. So all they ever know is to, like, not have that connection. So when it comes to, like, when they get around the age of, like, 18, 19, 20, and their hormones are into the roof and they just want to have sex with things, like, they take away the emotional side to just go out and have sex with things.
I get that. Like, obviously, I think I had, like, my liberation at 18. I was just like, you know what, let me just fuck.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was new. And then, obviously, I had my serious relationship. And nowadays, I kind of am a bit like, at times I'm wary of relationships. But, you know, we all have our own personal hang-ups when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
But I feel like I am more in a position where, like, if I seek a relationship, it might be a bit easier to find than if you were to seek one,
like,
purely because the odds are stacked against you in terms of numbers, and then, of course, in terms of some of the people you encounter, they're still, like, in their head on that oh, we're in a fuck culture.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point of even bothering. And I think one of the great things about this new show that I've been watching for the past few weeks, I May Destroy You, is the male character, like the main male character. He's gay, and he pretty much spends so much of his time on Grindr.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of a spoiler alert: something bad happens, which makes him a bit afraid to like do the hookups. But then eventually he gets back on it, and in the most recent episode, someone from Grindr invites him over, and they literally like make him a mojito, cook him some food,
Yeah.
and he's just there like, oh, so when we're gonna get down to like the sex? And then the guy's just there like, how about we explore other things that aren't sex this time, and we can like do the sex later
Yeah.
on. And then he's just there like, mate, do you not know how Grindr works? You're literally just wasting my time. And then the guy's just like looking at him like, obviously, like, you know, there are more things to it. Just sit down, let's just talk, like listen to one another. And then he's about to leave, and then he's just like, oh shit, I just really want a hug. So it's kind of like, like, do you think a lot of people have that feeling where it's like, you know, the hypersexuality of that landscape is leaving you guys like feeling a bit not empty, but like devoid of something? There's something
Yeah.
that you do want, that
Of course.
certain level of comfort and like longing. And then what do you reckon would take to change the type of culture that's going on and allow you guys to just be there like, do you know what, I want a connection?
Honestly, I genuinely like LGBT neighborhoods are such a big thing, and I wish to move to one day, because then like I could live there, and like I wouldn't have to wonder. I wouldn't have to play 5 games beforehand to be like, oh, I can actually have this romantic connection with you, instead of, oh, let me try and figure out if I can even do it in the first place, then try.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are so put off for that mind games in the front page, because like, I'm not gonna lie, like trying to find a relationship at the moment is just, if you're not going out to like the bars and the clubs or going out to support groups, the only way you will ever meet other LGBT people are apps. Like, it is such an app thing, and the app kind of takes away the personality and the person. And
have you considered, like, because obviously lockdown has forced us to kind of date in different ways.
Yeah.
For me, I like to do video calls with the people that I talk to, just to be there like, you can see me, I can see you. Let's have a chat as if we are face to face. Like, we've connected, we've exchanged a few like bits of banter here and there to know that like I like talking to you enough. So then, like, let's just quickly move it to this next stage so we can see whether or not we're wasting our time.
yeah.
Do you think a lot of people think in that kind of format and want to do it, but they're just a bit scared to?
Probably. I mean, I'd say I am, but again, my selection's so small that it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I'd love to find someone who's into video games and anime and manga, and like, we play Twitch stream together, we play League together, but it's such like such a small amount of people. Like, in the whole of Birmingham, like, that category probably fills what, 4, 5, maybe 10 people. And then they'd have to fill that category, and then they'd have to fill the category, am I even attracted to them in the first place? Do they have a nice personality? Like, my ideal would be to have a friend who then the friend develops into more than a friend, and then we develop into more than that. Like, that would be my ideal. That is how personally I work when it comes to relationships. And that's why I feel like I've not been in a relationship ever, and nothing's really working out for me. Like, that personal connection in real life, like, that is what I need. And I get what you mean where it comes from, like the dating world where you do just start off and you can just video call people and meet people and like that way. But for me, that's like, that makes it so if I do go out and try and do that, the intention of that video call is to not be friends and trying to get to know each other. Is this person a good person to date? Is this person a good person to, carry on with as boyfriend material, blah, 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 blah. Whilst if I'm in person and I do meet someone who am kind of like, oh, that's cute, let me try and be friends with them. And if they receive my feelings and they receive my feelings back, then we move on.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Like, everyone dates differently, don't they? Like, for me, I think it's a matter of I just need an understanding.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, because I just enjoy dating, like, I enjoy doing activities. Like, most dating is basically developing a friendship, but you lips them or, like, fuck them once in a while, Especially in the early stages, it's just kind of, like, nice to have those physical elements where it's like, oh, let me, like, give you a hug, or, like, let me kiss you on the cheek because it's sweet, or, like, let me lips you because, like, kissing is just, like, nice.
Yeah.
But, like, everyone has their, like, differences in process. For me, like, I enjoyed those, like, bonuses of dating.
Yeah.
But typically when you're dating someone, it's kind of like, yeah, you're my friend, you're someone I like spending time with, like, your company is valuable to me.
Yeah.
So I think, like, you could do that, but just without the kissing and that.
Oh, definitely.
Just, like, set out your own boundaries and say, like, obviously, like, I just want to see, like, how we get along, and, that could be maybe, like, the solution for you to bridge the gap between what you want and what kind of is available to you. Because it doesn't always have to be, like, romantic. You can just be,
I think that's just because I'm a hopeless romantic.
Over and play Twitch?
No, we don't play Twitch, Christine. Oh, you're so cute.
I don't know
you're
how
so
it works,
cute.
okay? I'm not a nerd. I'm like...
You need to allow your little nerd in. But, no, I get what you mean.
I'm just an intellect.
I get what you mean. I think we should start bringing it to the end, so we'll kind of wrap it up here. We did go off topic.
Of course.
It's gonna bound to happen. Unfortunately, Lily disconnected, so she couldn't rain down her iron fist to tell us to stay on topic.
I am back
We're very
now.
much who we are.
I mean, it's... I suppose talking about relationships is such a broad topic because there's so many things you can cover. I think during this time especially, like within having social media, do you think there's, like, as a close off, do you think if we didn't have social media, that you could still pursue, like, a relationship? So imagine it like 30 years ago. Do you think relationships would still be able to grow without seeing each other via, like, text or phone calls? So, like, even just speaking to each other directly, do you still think that you could have that impact of building a relationship and going on dates, even social distance? Do you think...
I don't think it would. Personally, like, my serious relationship, the only reason it functioned is because I was in a different country. If I couldn't talk to him, we would not have survived. Like, that was 4 months of me being abroad. So I think a lot of relationships even wouldn't exist if it wasn't for social media. Because, some people, like, he slid in my DMs, or, like, we met on here, or, like, I liked a few of his pictures on Instagram, or, my friend's friend, saw him on their Twitter and I thought he was cute. So I got them to link me up, because I think even social media exposing you to more people can allow you to make those moves in person if you need to make them.
Yeah.
And some people are just deathly shy. Like, in person, I will not go up to a person and flirt with them unless I've at least got, like, 70 centilitres of alcohol in me.
Yeah.
Like,
I get you.
I won't go up to people. I won't just, like, flirt with them from the jump.
I would give it a go, but I don't want to play the mental gymnastics beforehand. I don't want to go through 19 questions to even see if this is worth it in the first place. Going back to my previous point. Like, I think if it
Yeah.
was 30 years ago, the only way I would find another person like me would be at a bar, and that would be it. So I'd love
Yeah.
social media in that sense. Like, social media's opened it up, honey.
Same for me. I feel like it really helps as well, like even with the apps and stuff, because by the time you match them, you already know there's some kind of interest in you,
Yeah,
because otherwise they would have swiped left, wouldn't
exactly.
they at least like the way I look, so I'm like, okay, so you're approachable. If I'm in a bar, I don't know if you like me.
Yeah, you have to play mental gymnastics. I ain't down for it. I don't want
And-
to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm just like way too. My ego gets bruised so easily, so I'm not gonna go for it. Shoot and miss.
Yeah, that or I'm just bored and I just cannot be bothered. I'm lazy.
Yeah. I don't think dating like in the 90s or like even early 2000s would have worked for me. I'm glad that I'm dating in this landscape.
Yeah,
But I think there's a lot of things about the landscape that need to
definitely.
change.
My closing statement is there's a reason why the divorce rate is so high in older generations. I'm leaving it at that.
Yeah. And even if your parents are together does not mean they're happy kids.
Exactly.
Learn from the toxic things with you.
Like, social media gives us the chance to properly learn and, like, feel, explore a bit. I think a lot of marriages kind of don't work sometimes because they don't get that exploration. They don't get the, okay, I've tried it all, now I can figure out what I want. They get the one thing and run with it. But that's for a different podcast. I want to thank y'all for joining us for the IC Potential podcast.
It's been fun talking again and going off track like we usually do.
This episode was supposed to be about the apocalypse. We kind of talked about the apocalypse, to be fair.
Yeah, we talked about AI, robots and that, but in our typical fashion, we just had to give you the best of us, which is chatting shit. But you love us for
Yeah,
it.
you love it. Next week, hopefully, we'll be back for another episode. We're going to try and do this more weekly now. I mean, we were doing it weekly. We did quite well for 6 weeks.
Yeah, but Rona just kind of said, no,
Sorry, honey. We could have done it online, but I think Rona was so stressful for everyone. Allow it. We'd just be complaining about coronavirus for about an hour every time.
yeah. But now we're at a better point in life
Yeah.
where we can just talk about everything again.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you all for joining.
Yeah.
I've been
Hasta
Jake.
luego. My name's Christine.
Lily.
I'm Lily. Bye, y'all.